Hola Bandidos, ¿cómo estamos? Welcome to Mel's Magic Official. I'm Magic Mel and this is Owl, one of my spirit guides. Welcome to episode 11 of season 8. I missed you! I know I've been away for like 11 days. I went to Madrid after 3 years of being a hermit here in my little pueblo, and I must say, it's an amazing, beautiful capital city. I think it's my favorite capital at the moment. I was highly inspired. I went to an exhibition by or of David Bowie. And man, talking about wearing identity as a loose garment. I was so inspired by the way he kept on reinventing himself while never really losing his essence. You know what I mean? So as you can see, I got inspired to use some face paint because I also told myself, who can I be? How can I reinvent myself? How can I spice things up? Why not add some more theatricality? Is that a word? From theater, theatricality to life. You know, Magic Mail is all about tapping into our magical side, the fantastical side. Because deep down, I know even you have an inner child. And the inner child in us loves fantasy, loves stories, loves disfraces, costumes, loves imagining being somebody and the possibility of being somebody else. Isn't that still intriguing? Come on. It is for me. So I'm looking at myself nowadays and thinking, well, okay, I've known you as all of these past versions. What new version can you be, Magic Mel? So I'm trying that out. Voila. And I've been doing, as usual, a lot of soul searching. I can't believe we're like, 7 months into the year. And you know that June I took a break, even July. Well, we're still in July. But July, after taking this physical break, I had made space to step into the new, but I hadn't fully stepped into it until now. Because I decided that the energy is right. Well, that's not something I really decided, but after I felt that my energy was back because I had taken that deeply needed rest, I said, now is the time to act again. To act from an inspired state of being, a rested state of being, a centered state of being that is ready for the new. However, that step had to be a conscious step of mine. Yes, the energy has to be right, but then do we actually step into that new version of ourselves? Or do we hang on to past versions? Which is normal because past versions feel safe, i.e. familiar. Familiar for the mind, for the ego, because it already knows how that old version of us operates. So how do we step into this new version of ourselves? How do we even know what direction to take? That is where intuition comes into play. And our intuition speaks through our body. Hence, it's so important that we are connected to our feelings, our emotions, the sensations of our body, because our body is a psychic mechanism. It responds to situations, to people, to ideas. It receives insights. That's also why it's so important to stay hydrated, guys, because the more we hydrate it, water is a conduit for consciousness and for insights and intuition. So the importance of being embodied, not disembodied, not in the head all the time, being present, stepping out of the mind, noticing our sensations and noticing how our body responds. That is how we can be guided by intuition. It's also important to be really present to perceive and receive the signs of the universe. That's another thing. So one way of receiving guidance or knowing which direction to take is being conscious of being aware of how our body responds to situations, and also what our 3D reality is reflecting back to us, because the universe is always talking to us, whether we perceive it or not. So the more present we can be, the more in our body we can be, the more we've resolved past issues and are not projecting and fretting about the future, the more we can actually receive the messages. And they come in like all kinds of different ways. I mean, there's the angels numbers, you've heard about that, no? But there's also, I've noticed in conversations through people, sometimes people are unknowingly often messengers from the universe. They say something and it deeply resonates with me. I'm like, whoa. Especially if you ask for a sign. I always tell you, ask. That is the way we enact our free will, and you will receive a message. I mean, don't obsess about it. Let go. Just be perceptive and be open to receive that message in any shape or form. It can be through a supermarket sign, something said on radio, something somebody actually says to you, something you read. We know when it's a message when we feel the resonance, i.e. when our body again responds to it. There's a kind of opening, like, oh, this makes sense. So one thing is receiving that guidance towards that new direction, and another thing is actually acting on it. Because that's what I've noticed also. I'm like, okay, I have a sense or a deep knowing of what direction to take. However, I was in this limbo state of resisting, like, do I dare do it? Am I ready? And so forth. And fair enough, at some point, I didn't feel ready energetically. That's fair enough. But then comes a point where, are we just holding ourselves back? Are we resisting that stepping forward and actually fleshing out the vision, fleshing out the inspiration, living out the experience that our intuition is signaling us towards? So I think it was yesterday, to be honest, where I just said, you know what, Magic Mel? The time is now. Boom. Because as long as we're one foot in, one foot out, the universe gets mixed signals and can't fully back us up. But as soon as we cut the anchors and say, I've received the vision, I've received the insight, the intuition, I get it, and I'm stepping forward. And I release my past self-concept, my attachment to the past, my limiting beliefs. I'm just open for the new, and I trust that I'm fully supported as I take this new step in this new direction. Boom, that's being the fool. And remember, we had that card come up in previous readings a lot. What does it mean to be that fool? The fool takes this confident and bold step into the unknown, and people around you might think, oh my God, are you sure? Aren't you being a little bit reckless, irresponsible? I mean, there's all kinds of projections. And that's when you decide for yourself, yes or no. And, you know, the more we trust our intuition, the more we trust the universe, the more we receive reciprocity from the universe, the easier it gets, just like anything in life. You know, the more we practice it, the easier it gets. So at some point, me, for example, at this point, I really trust the universe. I trust myself. I trust that whatever happens is for my highest good, as cliche as that sounds, and the universe is a benign entity, phenomenon, whatever you want to call it, and wants and supports and is assisting my expansion, because the universe expands through us. Like, creation hasn't finished yet. We are at the leading edge of creation, as Abraham Hicks usually tells us. So do we get out of our own way and allow that expansion, that creativity to flow? Do we take that risk? And there's a funny notion, risk. I can't remember who or where I saw it on Instagram today, but I'm like, makes so much sense. Life is inherently risky, guys. The moment we're born, there is risk all around us. It's just that our mind likes to build this illusion of safety around itself, around our habitual patterns, around what we already know. And it labels what we already know as safety, but that is not really true. I mean, let's face it, nobody of us is getting out of here alive. So what are we how are we really living out the excitement of being alive? That's at the moment what is guiding me. I want to feel this thrill, this excitement of being alive. And there's a fine line between being scared and being excited. If we use our perhaps nervousness, perhaps a bit of concern or fear of the unknown and convert that into excitement, then it becomes powerful. I mean, another thing is being outright terrified. That can signal something else, but it's just normal that when we step into something new, there is a bit of nervios, there is a bit of nervousness, because obviously we don't know what's going to happen. But when do we really know what will happen? Wouldn't that be boring also if we already knew how the movie ends? It reminds me of the book I read from Maya Angelou, the series of her autobiographies, of her memoirs. And I can't remember the title now, but it was Merry Christmas, something about Christmas. And in the story, Maya Angelou, it really exemplified this notion that the universe puts us in situations and tests our self-worth, our self-confidence, to see if we value ourselves enough, if we're confident enough to step into the unknown, to claim the new situation. Like, she ended up in situations, she just flowed with the situation. She didn't plan on becoming a singer, she didn't plan on becoming a dancer, but it just so happened that she was brought into situations where she had a choice. Do I step into this? Do I dare be that tap dancer or that performer or not? Do I believe in myself enough or not? And then things just unfolded naturally. It's crazy. It's a beautiful story. So can we allow ourselves to lean into the tugging of our curiosity, the tugging of our expansion, the tugging of that inner voice, our intuition, our body is saying, yes, go this way. Trust yourself. Just see how it turns out. Dare to fail. I mean, what is failure anyway? Failure is like a full stop, but life is not really a full stop, even in my opinion, when we pass, because God knows the journey continues. It's ourselves putting that full stop to a story, saying, okay, jusqu'ici, up to here, and I'm not evolving anymore. I'm going to stay stuck in my looping pattern. It's just us putting that limit around us, those barriers around us, those walls around us. So my question for you to reflect on, I have two questions for you. In what ways have you been resisting your own expansion over the past 6-7 months? Can you reflect on that and share with me in the comments box? And another question is, in what ways are you not yet fully committed to the new version of you, and why? Because I always encourage you to be inquisitive and curious. If there is some resistance, look at it. Don't deny it, don't bulldoze it, don't reject it. Have a dialogue with yourself, with that aspect of yourself that is trying to keep you stuck. Because remember, we are an ecosystem of voices, of different psychological aspects. And it is a beautiful thing to get to know what your ecosystem is actually made up of. Look at it with some humor also. When I talk with my fears or my resisting aspects, like over the past 3 weeks, this resistance that was holding me back in a way from stepping into taking action again. And that was after I had rested. I had a conversation with that aspect of myself. And that aspect of myself said, yeah, I mean, are you really ready? Do you really feel ready? And I spoke back, well, are we ever really ready? Isn't that also some kind of illusion? The thought that we have to be ready in order to pursue a new avenue or try out something different? Can we not start something without being ready and learn on the way and just experiment this and discover and enjoy the unfolding? I mean, that's really allowing ourselves, giving ourselves permission. And that aspect of mine was an old perfectionist aspect of me that said, or that basically thinks along the line, it's dangerous to try something new because what if we fuck up? And I told it, hey, it's okay to mess up. It's part of learning. And to mess up, the messing up always carries a lesson with it. It's how we perceive, how we look at the messing up. Because we can't learn something new if we don't make a mistake or do it in the wrong way. Isn't that just natural? So can we extend some compassion and some humorous compassion towards our resisting aspects? That's how I encourage you to also dialogue with your own resistance. Just see what they have to say. I mean, maybe it's a voice that you picked up from your parents or your culture or somebody in your childhood. Maybe it's not even your voice, but that you've kind of internalized in some way and is a guest in your ecosystem. Speak to your guest. So think about those two questions. I'm curious. I spoke a little bit about intuition, and yeah, voila, that's me at the moment. And you know what? Since I let go of that limiting belief and I've spoken with that resisting aspects, I feel free and light, and I'm like 100% in it, like the fool, walking over the edge, knowing that the universe is gonna have a net as I take that step, as I take that leap. Without faith and trust in the universe, it's nearly impossible to try out new things because the fear will be too grand and will hold you back. So the trust, in many ways, has to be bigger than your fear. Do you dare trust the universe? Do you dare trust yourself? Do you trust life enough that it will turn out well regardless of the journey? That's also what I tell myself, bigger picture. I mean, it's one of my coaching tools, zoom out, because we get so entrenched in our tunnel vision, we forget the bigger picture. And my bigger picture is, okay, Magic Mel, time is ticking. How many years have we got left on this planet? Might as well enjoy the ride and try things out and have some fun. And that's a big part of, at least my journey. Doing things for fun, going for things that feel expansive and really use my body as compass. No longer just acting from my head that keeps me looping and takes me down crazy labyrinths and like rabbit holes where I don't find my way out anymore. Finding the clarity through my body's response. If you're familiar with human design, it's very useful to know what kind of, I don't know what the right term is, but for example, I'm a generator, meaning I can make decisions best when I use my sacral authority, my body's response. So for example, if a situation or a person or a thing is not for me, my body goes like, and it can be like very subtle, but it's definitely a contraction, a kind of withdrawing from the situation. Whereas if something is in my highest good or serves me, the response of my body is like this. It's more like you are attracted to it, you open up. So try it out with simple things, guys. I mean, you can use this for anything. Tuning into the right food. I'm not telling myself to go on any diet, but I'm trying to use my body's response as gauge. So when I have a choice, something, let's use a silly example, banana or an apple. How does my body respond to the apple? How does my body respond to the banana? And that's how I intuitively know what is good for me in the moment. So try it out. I mean, the apple banana example is a trivial example, but you can use that for anything. Do you want to go to that party, or do you prefer to stay home? What's the response of your body? Your body is an intelligent psychic system. And often we get so confused because we try and make decisions only from our headspace. And if you are an overthinker like I've been, you know what I'm talking about. It just leads to endless mind loops and confusion. So the clarity that we often seek but distrust is anchored in the body. That is why it's so important to be connected, to actually be present in your body. And I know it sounds crazy. I mean, we're all born into a body, but are we really present? And do we really trust our body's responses? And do we act upon our body's responses or not? That's been a big one for me. I mean, this entire year has been about embodying embodiment, coming back to the body, trusting it, rebuilding that trust, that relationship. And as I am more embodied, I feel more empowered, because we cannot really be centered in our beingness if we're not present in the body. And this goes to all genders, male, female, doesn't matter. Are you present in your body? What is your relationship with your body's responses, your emotions, your body sensations? Yeah, it's not given. That relationship, it's not. So, shall we pull some cards? I feel like pulling some cards for you. Voila. I've also been, since I'm stopping the Airbnb, I really want to make my place Casa Lily a spiritual retreat and creative hub, and a retreat for recovering creatives to heal, to reconnect with themselves, to get inspired. So I'm setting all of that up, and I'm using so for example, remember we spoke about yin yang, the intuition, the idea, the insight came from this deeper knowing, the receptiveness, being in a receptive mode, being in my feminine energy to receive that vision. Now I'm going to use my masculine energy, which is the going out to actually, to protect that idea, but to also manifest it in the 3D world. That is the masculine energy. It's not, all of us have feminine, receptive, creative, intuitive energy, and go-getter, action mode, protector, strategizer energy. It's all about balancing both energies within us. And that's how we become more whole. We don't outsource that. For example, if we're in an extreme feminine and reject the masculine, in my case, for example, if I would only be my feminine, only receptive and never taking action, I would never actually manifest anything in the physical world. And I would outsource that aspect of mine from the outside, from another person. I would be in imbalance. And this entire ascension process, this big transition we're all going through, is asking of us to balance our own feminine, masculine energies within, so that we can be more balanced and more come back into our wholeness and interact from a state of interdependence, because we still do need each other, but we're no longer encouraged to come from codependency, from disempowerment. So, let's see what's in the cards for you guys. Let's pull like a simple past, present, future, because I want to know what's up with you. Let me know in the comments box how you guys have been. I have missed you, honestly. So, connecting with your Asga team, and for the new beers on my channel, it's angels, already forgot. Asga, angels, spirit guides, gods and goddesses, and ancestors. So, Asga with triple G, connecting with your Asga team. What's in the cards for you? What have you just come out of? What's in the recent past for you? I'm going to come closer so the cards don't fall on the floor. Thank you, dear angel spirit guides. Ooh, that was fast. Oh wow, 2 came out. Okay. I'll take the first one as the past, the present. I'm going to pull future card. I'll show you in a minute. What's in your future? See, the cards are like eager to talk to you, or to me, or to us. Vale. In your immediate past, you've been feeling like the 5 of Cups, which is a bit of an energy of... Let me connect. Have you been feeling like you missed some opportunities? Perhaps that things have been going too slow, reproaching yourself for certain things that happened in the past, or perceived missed opportunities? If you look at her closely, she's almost like jaded. She's looking at that kind of hole where these empty cups had poured their contents in there. And she's like, you know what? I might as well pour the 4th cup in there too, because it's all going to waste anyway. You know, that kind of, we get into that mode, no? We're like, screw it. I might as well give up. I might as well quit. I might as well not hope for better, because things turn out, I will be disappointed anyway. Have you been feeling like that a bit? Let me know in the comments box. But if you look behind her, there is still a full cup, and she's just not turning in the right direction. And actually that full cup has like beautiful rainbow colored ingredients. So perhaps, you know, the 4 cups that somehow maybe didn't have the right content or weren't her or your fulfillment, you had to go through those experiences to learn. Because, you know, guys, as we live in a universe of contrast, everything serves us. So even if something doesn't turn out, what is important, turn out the way we expected, if something disappointed us, at the end of the day, what counts is our perception of that experience. Are we taking it as something, for example, oh, I expected this person to be the one, but again, it turned out to be a disappointment. Instead of looking at it just as a disappointment, can we analyze the situation and say, okay, what did I learn out of that? Because we do learn from each experience, even if it's just knowing what our preference is, refining our preference for a different version of, let's say, our soulmate. Do you know what I mean? Instead of looking at just what didn't work out and what didn't happen, can we draw the lessons from that situation and move forward? So instead of thinking that we lost something, can we look at it in a way that we're moving towards something better? And I don't mean in terms of hierarchy, but I mean better suited, more aligned with what we actually truly want and what is in our highest. So let me know if you've been feeling a bit jaded, a little bit tired and apathetic and disappointed. Remember that the universe always gives us new opportunities. The universe wants us to expand. The universe actually wants to fulfill our desires. But it's up to us to stay open, to say, okay, that wasn't so good, but for next time I want something, I want maybe the similar but with these added qualities. Yeah, refining your vision, and then stay open. Don't be jaded. Don't close yourself off, because that's resistance. That's how we actually repel what we're trying to bring in. And how many times, talking about self-sabotage, do we say, yes, I want that, but internally we're like, yeah, but I know I'm going to be disappointed. That's like our energy not going anywhere, because we're projecting into what our desire and at the same time holding ourselves back. So ask yourself, in what way are you holding yourself back? In what way are you somehow carrying a belief inside that is hindering you in the fulfillment of your desire, whatever that may be? You know. Present. 7 of Wands reversed. I'm going to show it upright and then talk about it as if it were in the reverse. So there is you all centered and, you know, talking about learning the lessons. You've learned how to keep your space sacred and safe, to conserve your energy. You're much more discerning in what energies and situations you entertain, and that's super important, because remember, we got to watch our mental space, emotional space, our psychic space, because we've only got so much energy to go around and so many hours in a day. So what are we giving our attention to? Our attention is a resource that will not renew itself. I mean, as the days pass, that the day never will come back. So where our attention goes, energy flows. And what we focus on expands. So you've learned basically to keep anything that doesn't align with your highest good, that's taking away from your energy, that is draining you out. That's why you're in that safety bubble. And you see kind of maybe different distractions and different energies trying to kind of poke at you, but you're like, no, I'm steady, I'm good, I've done the work, I've learned my lessons. And that is a good one coming from the 5 of Cups. because the Five of Cups is also, looking at her again, the sense of draining our energy, draining our energy into situations and people and thoughts that literally drain us. So you've taken back your power. And it all starts with our mind, with our attention, with our thoughts, the garden of our consciousness. You've learned to protect that and keep it clear from toxicity. Yes or yes? You tell me. Okay, what lies in the future is the Four of Cups. This is a kind of gentle warning to not end up in the Five of Cups again. And the Four of Cups has all to do with perception. Look at her. There's a clear panorama, but maybe a little bit barren, or where there's nothing happening. And there's this rainbow, high vibrational, colorful panorama. And it's literally just one thought apart. In one perceptive field, she, in this case, this character, is looking at all of the empty cups, everything that's missing. And by looking that way, she's missing the new opportunity that the universe is handing to her, full of sparkling color and vibrations and goodies. So, a reminder, which way are you looking? Are you putting on your spectacles of abundance, or are you putting on your spectacles of lack? And trust me, it's so easy. We've been programmed so much into scarcity and lack. It's a default in our brain to look at what's missing, to look at what's going wrong, to just regurgitate negativity, especially because we're bombarded with so much negativity. So again, use your discernment, keep away those distractions to avoid falling into scarcity. Train your mind, the neural pathways in your mind by repetition on gratitude, on what is working and what you already have, because you are already complete and fulfilled, and you can manifest what you want from this state of completeness, not from lack. As soon as we come from lack, we're running after things, and that energy of running after things is repellent. It's like, I will become a singer. I will is always pushing and projecting that desire into the future, where you're constantly like a hamster, or with like a donkey with a carrot in front, running after the carrot, but you're never actually reaching it. That's why the words I am in the present moment are powerful, because I am is now. I am a powerful singer, and then act it out. Keep on practicing, keep on embodying that. That's how we embody the new version of ourselves. And that's also how we keep on expanding the abundance, because just like anything, abundance, and that's a bit of a controversial word because it doesn't matter. Regardless of your circumstances, you have a choice to look at your circumstance from a perspective of abundance, of gratitude, or from a perspective of scarcity and never enough and complaining and all of that. So it's up to you. It is a choice, guys. There is no way around it, and nobody's exempt from making that choice in the moment. Yeah? So it's just a gentle reminder, and we all need reminders, guys. Again, it's all about repetition, because our habits, our mind loops, are the brain and our habituated way of thinking. So in order to create something new, we have to push our brain into the unknown, into a new way of thinking and then feeling, to actually create a new habit that serves us. It looks like you're self-aware enough to know what serves you and what doesn't. And it's not like a final punto final. It's an ongoing process, because we are always evolving, and we are a process. The body's a process. Life is a process. So it's never a full stop. However, coming back to the present moment, basically, how are you feeling? How are you perceiving things? What are you thinking? Are you coming from lack or from abundance? Choice is yours, ours, always. And that's how we create our reality. How we magnetize the good or the bad. To be or not to be. To create or to destroy. It's always a choice, moment by moment. So, Leave me some comments in the comments box. I gave you 2 questions to ponder about, and I want to see if anything resonates here with you. Let's put this mirror reversed. Past, present, and future. Yeah? Let me know. Resonate? We or no? Allora, guys, I'm gonna cut this off. Perhaps record a episode 12 for some oracle cards, because I want to dive a bit deeper with you, because I haven't seen you for 11 days. Yeah? Okay? And guys, remember, Magic Mail is a tarot reader. So if you want private one-on-one readings with me, you know how to contact me. My email is in the description box below. And since it's Leo season, and guess who's a Leo? Moi. I am offering a super amazing coaching package. Details are in the description box below. You can't miss that, guys. So if you've been thinking about having me as a coach or not, this is your grand opportunity. Try it out. I cannot speak more highly, is that the right word? Highly of receiving coaching. Even I have a coach, because I'm not immune of needing somebody to reflect me back, somebody who can be an accountability partner, somebody who can guide me out of perhaps an inner maze. We all need support. And why make it so hard on ourselves? Why expect ourselves to have everything figured out on our own? It's not how it works. So if you're interested in coaching with me, grab my summer package. Details are in the description box below. And in any case, I appreciate you being on my channel. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. And stay tuned for episode 12, rocking up right after this one. Ciao, bandidos.